Hi, everyone. This is Raquel.
Hi, and this is Jennifer.
Welcome to Madness Cafe.
This is a feminist podcast where we talk about women's issues, politics, and health and wellness.
And where those issues intersect. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Madness Cafe. Today, Jennifer and I are trying something a little different. Normally, we'll have either guests on the show or it'll just be Jennifer and myself talking, but we'll have something planned. Today, we were trying to do this without having a plan and just talk about what's on our mind right now. We're going to see how this goes, people. If y'all like this, let us know. If y'all think this is wretched, then we won't do it again. So we'll see. So, Jennifer, what are 3 things that have been on your mind lately?
Well, here's what I think we should do. I think we should talk about 3 things, but we should take turns. I will start with sort of like a recap on the whole HPV hysterectomy saga. So I did have my hysterectomy and it went really well and the healing was great. And on my last appointment with my surgeon, I asked about getting the HPV vaccine, because it had been mentioned to me that the virus will always be in my system, HPV 18, and that I could possibly get the vaccine and possibly the vaccine could clear the virus from my system. So I asked, and the surgeon said, weirdly enough, we don't offer it in this clinic, but if you could get your doctor to recommend it, you could get the vaccine. So I called my doctor and my doctor said, I concur. I think that would be a good thing for you to have. The reason why it's a big deal is because the HPV vaccine, as we all know, or maybe you don't know, but most of our kids have been offered the HPV vaccine. If you get it before you're 16 years of age, it's 2 vaccines, a series of 2. Okay. If you get it after 16, it's 3 vaccines. Okay. And they have recently, the FDA has recently approved it for people up to the age of 45. And it's sort of working in the opposite way of COVID. So with COVID, they got all the approvals for the higher age people because they were the most at risk and they've been working their way backwards. HPV has been the other way. They were thinking, let's get children vaccinated before they're sexually active. And so they started that way. Makes sense, right? Well, I'm 53. Yeah. So I haven't been approved to get the vaccine. So what it was told to me by my doctor is, yes, I can order it for you. Yes, you can get it. But because it's not approved, I can't deem it medically necessary. Therefore, your insurance won't pay for it. Wow. Which is fine. I can pay for it out of pocket. I know everybody else doesn't have that luxury. I get that. I'm willing to do that. But what I find frustrating, and that's like slightly frustrating, right? Oh, what I find really frustrating is no one would have mentioned the vaccine to me. I had to dig and ask. They won't mention it because it's not approved by the FDA for me. So they feel like they would be going out of the guidelines of what they're allowed to say to me. The only reason I get in this vaccine is because I push the issue, even though it could be good for me. And people are like, well, why do you need it? You had a hysterectomy. They took out your uterus. They took out your cervix. What do you need it for, right? Well, I need it because HPV is a virus that lives in your system, and HPV likes certain tissues. It likes the tissues in our female reproductive organs. It also likes the tissues in our anus, and it also likes the tissues in our throat. So those 2 areas of my body are still vulnerable to that virus, right? Wow. That's frightening. Yeah, I want the freaking, I don't know if it'll work. So then I went in to get the vaccine and it was a hassle, even though I got it approved. I got in there, I sat down, the nurse practitioner came in and she said, you're going to have to sign a waiver because you're going to have to pay for this out of pocket. All like, and I'm like, okay, I know. Thank you. Get me the waiver. Right. And then she goes back and she's like, you're 53. You can't have this. You can't have this vaccine. She was all like, ugh. Oh my God. And I said, I realized that it hasn't been approved for me. I spoke with my doctor. The reason I have an appointment and I'm here is because my doctor ordered it for me. So I had to sit and wait while she went and did it. So then she goes and gets permission and she comes back and she says, yes, your doctor ordered it for you. And then she gives it to me. She goes, it might not work,
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what? Like, here they are. Here's the whole country trying to push people to get vaccines for COVID. And like, she was completely discouraging me from getting the HPV vaccine. I know it might not work. I know I have to pay for it out of pocket. I know I'm too old. I still want the fucking vaccine. Can you just like read my chart and do what was on it?
Yeah,
like,
just do your damn job.
Yeah. So it wasn't easy. I could see someone being like, oh, okay, sorry, and leave. No, if there's any chance to kill this virus in my system, I want it killed. And furthermore, if I was a man out there and I know that someone that I slept with had HPV in whatever form, because I had so many people say to me, HPV, no big deal, don't worry about it. 80%, 90% of the population have it. If I was a man out there and I knew I slept with someone who had HPV, I would get that damn vaccine so I didn't give it to my current girlfriend and or wife.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you? Like, why are we not doing this? I get that it's not approved yet, but if you're 45, have you even heard about it? Have any of you even heard about it?
Probably not.
Right.
And so the thing that comes up for me when you're talking about this, about how they've capped it or they're trying to cap it at 45.
Well, right now,
what comes up for me is, what about what women over 45 aren't worthy of being cared for, or women over 45 don't have sex anymore? Like,
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
We deserve the same health protections
yeah,
as people younger than us.
I hear what you're saying, but it's in clinical trials. It will eventually get approved for people older. They're just going the opposite way. Just like the younger people, like the 5 and below, haven't been approved for COVID yet. So that's in clinical trials. The HPV vaccine for us old folks, we're not even that old, right?
We're not old.
That's still in clinical trials. So they're not trying not to give it to us.
I know, but that's just my knee-jerk reaction to it.
No, I get it. You're like, you're over 45, so you're not having sex anymore, folks. But just, to me, it's just the whole thing, the same thing that we're facing with COVID. Let's get people vaccinated so that the virus doesn't keep mutating and changing. And I hate to break it to the world, but this age group, there's a lot of divorce. There's rampant dating. There's people with multiple partners. And in my opinion, we're just giving it to everybody.
Pretty much.
And it isn't that thing that everyone said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You know how many times people told me, don't worry about it. It's just HPV. 80% of the population has it. That's why we should be worried about it.
Yeah.
Everybody you sleep with is going to have HPV. That's what I think.
Oh God, that's just frightening.
Yeah,
it's frightening.
Well, I'm not trying to frighten anyone. Most HPVs don't cause cervical cancer, but some of them cause warts. How many of you want warts? Yeah, exactly. Oh, I didn't get cancer, but I got warts. Oh my God. Sometimes I think, glad I got cancer. You know, because who wants warts?
I would be mortified. I would be absolutely mortified.
That's my point. Like, nobody wants any of that. Get the goddamn vaccine, people.
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone who, when my kids had to get the HPV vaccine, or didn't have to, when they were offered the HPV vaccine, it was an agonizing decision for me.
Really?
It was agonizing because I tried to talk to my doctor about it. I tried to get more information. They sort of shoved things down. I was of the mind that we were creating vaccines for everything. And my kids did get the vaccine because I don't want them to get cervical cancer. It was an agonizing decision. Like, are we over vaccinating? Are we creating vaccines? I was one of those people. I would never say I was anti-vax because we've had them all. I just want to be educated when I go in and talk to a doctor about vaccines, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I want more information. I want my questions answered.
Yeah. This is something that I think has been happening even before COVID, is that the amount of time that doctors actually spend with each patient, that amount of time has decreased sharply over time. They go in, they're just like, boom, 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 this is what we have to talk about. And then they're out. Right. And so to find a doctor or a nurse practitioner who will actually answer your questions and spend time with you and actually talk to you. I mean, that is so hard. I think I've been lucky that I have had physicians and nurse practitioners that have taken the time to answer my questions and to really talk to me and go over issues with me. But I've had situations with medical professionals where, you know, it was just boom, boom, boom. Here's what you need. Here's what you're here for. Get out. Literally the time that you spend waiting once you get there compared to the time that you actually spend with the doctor. I mean, it's just, they don't match up. The whole system, I think, it's in need of some repair, shall we say, in lots of ways.
I think it has to do with this whole thing of what will insurance pay for, and insurance isn't paying for longer visits, and insurance isn't paying for education. They're basically paying for pharmaceuticals that they deem necessary. I mean, my hysterectomy was completely paid for. I didn't really pay a dime for that.
Wow.
So, I mean, that I feel blessed and lucky, right?
Right.
I'm blessed. But at the same point, happy to pay for a surgery. But had they given me the vaccine 10 years ago, probably wouldn't have needed the surgery, right? We don't know that for sure. I'm not going to say that the science is 100% there. That's why it's not approved yet. But there's a pretty likely chance that that would be the case.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. That was number one for me. I had a little rant and a little rave and a little crazy. What's top of your mind?
Well, this is probably something that's top of my mind more often than not. It's sort of maybe two parts of the same topic, but self-doubt and trusting myself, trusting that things are going to be okay, trusting the universe. Some people may say faith, which for people who've listened to the show for a while, I'm not the poster child for having faith. That's just whatever. It is what it is. Lately, I've been dealing with a lot of self-doubt and trusting myself as far as making decisions about not even just about big things, but at some point this year, I would like to buy a home.
Woohoo!
I don't know when that's going to happen. I have ideas of when I would like it to happen. I'm excited about it. I'm doing research, all the things. But then this voice in the back of my head pops up. Well, what if you can't do it? What if you don't
get that voice to shut the fuck up?
Well, yeah. What if you don't get approved for a mortgage? What if you get a place and you can't afford your mortgage? What are you thinking? What if you end up losing the condo? Or what if, like all these thoughts keep coming into my head. I mean, I realize it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Actually, wait, I don't think those thoughts are crazy. I think everyone has similar thoughts when they're about to buy a home. I don't think that's crazy. I should have never said, shut the fuck up. We all have that. And that's part of the process. But what I do know is that you're capable and that those things are valid fears. Like we all think, what if I can't make the payment? What if I don't get approved? But okay, right. I don't know if you know this, but I used to be a banker and I have a lot of information about homes.
That's right.
Yeah, I used to write mortgages. If you don't get approved, then speak to someone and they will tell you why. And then what you do is you fix those. I've known people, friends of mine, who've wanted a home and they wanted it now. And it might have taken 2 years to get everything into the proper place, to get their credit score to where it needs to be, to get a down payment to where it needs to be, to find the home in the right location. They're kind of hard to find right now, in case you haven't noticed.
Yes. But here's the thing, and this is where I think I start saying to myself, this is crazy. I think this is where it's coming from, is that I've been doing my research. Good. I've been talking to all the people that I need to talk to. Good. I've been doing all the things to get my ducks in a row, right? I've been doing all of the work of looking at my finances and figuring things out and getting myself prepared. And it's almost like the closer I get, the more afraid I get, because it feels like, oh, this could actually happen. Oh crap, it's not just stuff anymore. Like, it's that fear pops up. I think, oh no, what if? And I just what if myself to death.
Mm-hmm.
So what I keep coming back to is I need to trust myself, that I need to trust that I've made the right, that I'm getting my ducks in a row, that I'm making the right decisions, that I'm not doing anything to get in over my head, that I'm trying to be practical, and all of this. And so it's this tug of war between the voice in my head that's based in fear, and the voice in my head that's based in reality.
Yes.
That's based in practicality.
Yeah.
And so, but it's just, oh, I mean, I have days where I start thinking about it and I almost get paralyzed by it. And I really have to, and this is where therapy has come in.
Yeah.
Is that I really have to sit myself down and just go, okay, breathe. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't foresee the future. Stop catastrophizing. It's going to be fine. Just breathe. In all of this, I think partly that I'm learning to trust myself. And that's not the easiest thing to do.
Why? I trust you. You're trustworthy.
Well, thank you. It's got to be fear. Fear because, well, bad things have happened before. So thus, bad things will happen.
Okay, but there's not a soul I know who doesn't have a life that has had some bad things, right? Bad things are going to come and bad things are going to go.
Right.
I'm pretty sure you can handle bad things.
Yeah, I've handled all the bad things so far. I don't want to make decisions based out of fear. I'm trying to have that be my, I don't know, life mission, I guess. Maybe that's not the right word, but I don't want to make decisions based out of fear. I don't want to stay in a situation because I'm afraid to take the next step.
What do you want to make your decisions based on?
Facts.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's the closer I get to something, the more real it becomes. And so it's fear shows up. Like when we were planning to start the podcast, because for months we talked about it, and then we got closer to it. And the day that we recorded our first episode, I was sweating like a whore in church.
Like a whore in church?
I was afraid.
I've never heard that before. Why'd a whore sweat in church? Sex is against, sex for money is against religion. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a Southern saying. Yeah, so sweating like a whore in church. I just have to feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, they say that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway.
I'm trying to have courage.
You have courage. You're not trying. You have it.
Thank you. Yes, I have courage.
You do. You jumped on this badass bitch Madness Cafe podcast with me. You have courage.
True.
Whew,
yes.
That's a lot. That's a big life change to number one, to trust yourself, but also number two, to buy a house.
Yeah.
I'm going to vision it. All right. My next topic is not a very pretty one. I've been thinking about it a lot, and that's the topic of death. And there's a couple of reasons. The first one, which I haven't talked about very much, after winter break, when Gabby was getting ready to go back to school, we found out one of her friends committed suicide. 15-year-old boy, 15 years old.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it hasn't been the easiest week. And I fucking can't imagine what his parents are going through. And I just keep thinking, like, the adolescent brain is not even fully formed. We have so many kids talking about suicide these days, and they don't really have a way to vision anything past what they're going through right now.
Yep.
They don't know what the world could offer or how things could be different. They just don't have the capacity, in my opinion. I'm no expert, but to see more out in the world. And it breaks my heart. And so there's that type of death. And then there's also, I've been thinking a lot about the death of my mother. As everyone knows, she has Alzheimer's. And this is a really hard thing to say. And a lot of people are going to hate me for this, or maybe they won't hate me. Yeah, I would like an end to my mother's suffering, but I would like an end to our suffering, to mine and Gabby's and Olivia's and Chelsea's and Austin's and my family. Like, this fucking sucks to watch this process. I actually don't think my mom is suffering that much. I think she's like so out of it that.
Oh, really? Okay.
It depends on what you mean by suffering. Her quality of life is definitely not good. It's not good that you're a full-grown adult woman walking around in diapers and you can't even put a pair of matching socks on. The other day, she was walking around with a toilet paper roll in her hand, the full one. And I got a kombucha out of the refrigerator. She still likes to drink those. And I opened it and I went to get a cup. And while I was getting the cup, she grabbed the kombucha and poured it into the toilet paper roll. There is no quality of life. There's no suffering. The people who are suffering, the person probably who is suffering the most is myself. And then I think, fuck, I just have to surrender and do this on whatever time frame it's going to be, but I'm fucking sick and tired of doing it. And it's not that I don't love my mother. Like, a lot of people will be like, how can you like wish your mom dead? I love growing up, she was like the light of my life. She was the person I loved the most. Like, it's a complicated relationship, but I love her. People love their mother. And I know that the minute she dies, I'm going to be fucking heartbroken again, but I just want her to die.
I think people who are familiar with Alzheimer's, or who are caretakers themselves, or who know somebody who is a caretaker, I think they understand. And I don't think they realize, or I don't think they're judging you for anything that you're feeling or saying.
I mean, Raquel, when we put my mom in a home way before COVID, before we went and got her and sprung her out, she had a advance directive that if anything were to happen, she didn't want life support. And I turned that in, and the lady looked at me and she's like, why? She's vibrant. She's alive. Why would you want your mom? And I'm like, we just don't have the same beliefs here. But I've thought about this a lot. I wish we lived in a state where you could choose your own end of life. But even for my mom, she's not capable of choosing that for herself. And then I thought, well, what if part of the medical power of attorney was a family member made that decision for you? Like, I don't even know if I could do that, because I don't know what goes on in my mom's head. Does she want to be alive? Does she want to be dead? All I know what goes on in my head. In my head, this is such a harsh thing to say. I'm fucking sick of taking care of her. I'm just fucking sick of it. And I love her. It's not that I won't do it until it's over. I'll continue to do it every single day till it's over. But it's just, okay, you want to know why I wanted to say this out loud?
Okay.
The same reason I want to say everything out loud on here. Because I'm not the only one that feels that way. And I think the shame that we all feel in this world is when we can't say our truth and be our true human selves. And my true human self right now at this moment, this could change tomorrow, but right now at this moment, my true human self wants my mother to peacefully and quietly exit this world. And I don't believe in the afterlife. Even so, if it exists, I would like all of you out there to call your angels in and help my mom transfer peacefully. That's what I would like. Because just in case it exists, help her have a nice, beautiful transition. I hope it exists.
That's beautiful, Jennifer.
I don't know about that. I just said I want my mom dead.
No, you're saying that you want your mom to have a peaceful transition.
I do. I want her to, I can't imagine what it's like in that head of hers. And maybe it feels okay to her. Maybe we are the ones that are suffering, but maybe when she speaks, she's like, why don't you people understand me? Like, I'm begging for what I need and no one understands me. I don't think that's what's going on, but it could be. You see how this is like a mind F for me? I guess that's all I have to say about it. But we have the senseless death of this 15-year-old who just, Jesus, why couldn't we? I don't even know what to say. And then we have this senseless life. They're the two opposite.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say. You're up. After that fun topic.
And done.
Your turn.
All that.
Yeah. Woo, what's on my mind?
Woo, Lord. Okay. And, of course, now I'm crying. Hold on.
It fucking sucks, Raquel.
Lord. Well, shit. Whatever's on my mind after that is just just dribble. Something that is unfortunately always on my mind is body image.
Oh, yeah.
And I have such a hard time with my body and loving my body. I love me as a person and I have respect for me. Of course, I have respect for my body and that I don't just go and do crazy things to it. As far as loving my body, no, that is not something that exists for me. Lately, I'm angry with my body because my knees have been hurting so badly for months now. I feel like it's limiting me in so many ways, the pain in my knees. What that ends up doing to me is exacerbating the body image issues that I have.
Yeah, I totally get that.
A lot of times I look in the mirror and I think I weigh too much. I'm at a weight I never thought I would ever see in my lifetime. Oh my God, what if I don't lose the weight? My knees will never stop hurting. I don't like the way my body looks in clothes or naked. Will I ever lose this weight? I mean, I'm 52. It gets harder every year. Am I ever going to feel healthy in my body again? And then I look at other things having to do with me physically, and I think, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, there's this I don't like either. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have moments when I think, oh, I look pretty today, or oh, I feel attractive. Those are fleeting. I would love to see myself through the eyes of my friends and people who love me. Because when I look at myself through my own eyes, I don't see a body, like a physical body that I love. And that is a very hard thing for me because I don't know if this has something to do with it or if this is just useless babble, but I haven't always been big. I've always felt big because we've talked about the body dysmorphia thing before. I've always thought I was big. I haven't always been this big. I haven't always been at a weight where people would go, oh yeah, she's a big girl, or oh, she's fat, or oh, she's plus size. I'm at that weight now. And it's not just, oh, I don't like the way that I look. I physically don't feel comfortable in my body and haven't in a very, very long time. When I say all these things, it sounds very trivial and it sounds like I'm just being superficial. Maybe I am to some extent, because yes, I would like to put on certain things and look amazing. I want to put on a bodycon dress and look banging. Like I want to be that. I want to look good in whatever I decide to put on. I don't think that's a bad thing. It does sound very, very superficial when I say it. I don't know. That's just something that I struggle with. The last few months, I've been struggling with it even more than usual, I think.
Why do you think that is?
Possibly because of the pain in my knees. I think it's because my knees have been hurting so badly. And it's not arthritis. I went and got went to an orthopedist and got things checked out. So it's not that. Basically some other kind of injury, inflammation, whatever. And I just feel like if I weren't heavy, maybe it wouldn't happen. If my knees weren't hurting, then I could work out harder and lose the weight faster. Do you know? So it's this huge cycle that just keeps playing in my head. That's a big one for me. And that's been on my mind a lot.
That has weighed on me most of my life. And I see a lot of people on Instagram, Facebook, heck, people in my life. I see it everywhere, Raquel. I don't think you're alone in that.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. It's funny. I try to follow people on Instagram who are body positive or maybe my size or heavier or just shaped in a different way, but they're just out there and they're wearing whatever they want. And, and I see it in real life. I see women wearing things that I just think, good on you for wearing that. God bless you, but I couldn't do it. I try to follow people who are like that, who are strong and brave and courageous and all these things and who love their bodies. And I'm hoping it's going to rub off, but it hasn't yet. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that I don't love me. I mean, I do love me.
You love parts of you.
Well, okay. Yes. Yes.
I think we all do. All right. I am going to change the focus with my third one because my first two were a little heavy. Yours too. We've been a little blue today. So my third thing I've been thinking a lot about, I think it's a little bit happier, and it is about my commitment to myself over all others. And that's what my priority board was about. And that's what I've been working on. And I took a long medical leave when I went out for the hysterectomy. And what I learned during that time period was there are lots of things I want to do. And one of the things that I really loved doing every day when I wasn't working was making myself a really nice breakfast every day. So now I've been back to work for a week, and I have decided that to the best of my ability, and I'm not looking for perfection here, this is a commitment to myself without all the trappings of it must be this way every single day. Without all those trappings, my commitment to myself is that most days I will walk or run my dog, which I already do. Most days I will make myself a really great breakfast from now on. Okay, so if I have to jump on a plane and I don't have time to do it, I'm just going to let it go. But most days I'm going to take time to make myself a really nice breakfast. Most days I'm going to do yoga because I just feel good when I do it. It's like meditation. Since we did that podcast with Soulful Journaling on journaling, I've been journaling and it has been really helpful to me. So most days I'm journaling.
Good.
And most days I don't want to read. And part of the reason I want to read is because you, Raquel, have booked so many amazing guests for us, but they've all written books. And so I have all these books I need to read. And honestly, I've really enjoyed it. I want to thank you for that. I haven't really read for fun in years. And you have me reading, first of all, for our book club, but then we just read The Reckless Kind, which we'll talk about later. We read Ten's book.
We read Zoe's book.
We learned about Ten's struggles with arthritis and the health system also. And then we learned about autism in adults. I had no idea. And now, I mean, okay, so that in itself has opened up worlds of knowledge for me. This is what I think is super exciting. I feel like my brain is growing. Like,
oh, good.
Like I'm on fire, and maybe, no, I'm not going to get Alzheimer's because I'm keeping my brain functioning. So that's my commitment to me. All of those things without the necessity for it to land perfectly every single day.
I like that.
Because my commitment is less stress. All of those things are meant to make less stress, to be things that I love and enjoy. And in the past, I've been so regimented that those things that I love have become not so much fun because I have to do them. Now it's most days. So that's what I've been thinking about. How about you? What's your third one? I'm hoping your third one's more positive.
Okay, so this one is actually very positive.
Oh, good.
You've touched on some some of it. I have been trying my hand at doing a vision board.
Yay.
And so I've been thinking about what I want my life to look like and what I'm manifesting in my life and the things that are really good in my life, right? I've been using Canva to do a vision board, and because I wanted to do a digital one so that I can look at it whenever I want. If I'm out and about and I'm having a moment where I just need a reminder, I can pull it up on my phone and I can see my vision board. So that's been really, really cool. And I've been kind of playing around with that. And I'm also trying to figure out a way that I can incorporate it into work so that I can use it for other people at work. So it's kind of blossoming out, and I can use it as a way to bring value to my workplace. I've also been thinking about, again, with the book club and authors that we've had on the show and future guests that we're going to be having, I've been reading, and I really am very excited about that.
It's cool, isn't it?
It is so cool. And I've read so many great books. I literally want to do more of that. And it's funny, at the beginning of the year, I saw a lot of posts where people were like, oh my God, I read so many books this year. And they had like this little collage of all the books that they had read. And I thought, oh, I want to do that. I want to keep up with the books that I read this year, books that we're reading for the show, books that we're reading for book club. And yes, because apparently I don't have enough things to do in my life, I joined another book club.
You did. Oh my God.
I did, with some of my sorority sisters.
That's cool.
So I'm reading because of that too. So yeah, so I want to see how many books I have read by this time next year.
So in all the books you read last year, what was your favorite?
Oh goodness, that's a hard one because I read so many really great books last year. I think, well, the first one that pops up is Zoe Martin's book, because there was so much, like, I just felt so good when I finished it. And
it's full of love.
That's exactly what I was going to say. There was so much talk of love and returning to love, and love being almost like a touchstone for her and her family. And that just felt so warm and life affirming. And it just felt so good. And I was just so fired up after I finished reading it. That's the kind of thing you get from a book. I want to have more of that in my life. And I like learning new things. And I like when other people are talking about, oh my God, I read this book and it was so great. Okay, I want to read that. I want to know what got you so excited about that book or that author or whatever. That's something that I want to focus on going forward, going through this year, is I want to read more. I like learning all these new things and taking all these things in, and it makes me slow down. It makes me sit still and focus on something and not just stare at the television. And I'm not bashing television, because I love TV. TV is my own personal babysitter of me. TV babysits me. So there's nothing wrong with that. And I want to do more of the visioning and vision boarding and bring all of these.
Well, that's very positive.
Yeah. I mean, I think for the most part, my life is very positive right now. And I think that's true with, hopefully, with a lot of people, is that, you have things that are weighing on your mind, and this voice over here playing on your worst fears, and this voice over here being inner mean girl, and, all these things. But if you look at it as a whole, if you can say, my life is pretty good, I'm in a good place, I think that's the goal. You want to feel good about your life.
I think the goal is to be authentic. That's what I think the goal is. And sometimes being authentic is you have a fucking shitty day where you wish your mother was dead. And sometimes being authentic is you're kicking ass out there on some project you've been working on forever. And all of it is about being human. That's what I think. I think for years we have suppressed so many emotions because they're considered bad, and people don't talk about things. And then other people think they're bad because no one ever talked about it before. I don't know. I just think there's a whole world that would open up if we could all just really truly be ourselves. And then the other thing I think about a lot is this capitalistic society that we live in that requires us all to work 24/7. No, I don't work 24/7, but I actually have a pretty nice work schedule. I've kind of had to fight for it with, just being clear, setting boundaries and being clear. One of the things I've really thought about is if you have a lot of goals, like all these things that you want to do in life, but most of your time is spent working, and I mean past the normal work. I think people probably love their work, but 40 hours is a lot of time to work. And there are many, many people who work way over 40.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have all these goals like physical fitness, eat well, create your own meals, read a book, meditate, yoga, run, whatever it is, I just threw mine out.
Get enough sleep.
Get enough sleep. Oh, that's a huge one. You're right. If you have all these goals and you're working over 40 hours a week, how do you create all that stuff?
It's hard.
So it's almost like we have to take that main piece of our life, that work, and we have to be like, I love my work and I'm going to be really intentional when I'm there, but my work is my work, because to get everything else I want, I have to be intentional there, and I have to be intentional in all these other places as well. Okay, I just snuck in the fourth thing I've been thinking about.
Well, no, but that's good though. And I think
sorry about that.
No, but that's something that you've been thinking about. I think it's important. I think that maybe speaks a little bit to people who, I think that's a struggle that I think a lot of people have.
I think almost everybody.
Yeah, that there's only so much time in a day. Exactly. How am I supposed to get all of these things done?
Exactly.
You know, and then we all beat ourselves up because we don't get them all done.
Exactly.
Or we guilt ourselves because we decided, you know what, I need to just sit down. I need to just look at the TV and not do anything for a while.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that lately. And I think the reason I was able to think about it goes all the way back to the beginning of this, the hysterectomy. I was on medical leave. I was able to get up every day for 8 weeks and do whatever I wanted to do. Well, I still had to take care of my mom and some other things. And this is coming from a person who loves their job. I love what I do. Right. But there's more to life than just our jobs. I guess that's what I'm saying. There's so much. There's so much.
Yeah, I agree with you. And unfortunately, there are people who don't have the freedom, I guess is a good word, to live that way. Because they have to work 40, 60, 80 hours a week. And then, just to make ends meet. And sometimes the ends don't meet.
I know.
And so
I know I speak from a spot of privilege. So I know that, and I will acknowledge that. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately too. Although we're not a hugely wealthy family, I feel like I have had the privilege of generational wealth because I had grandparents who had money, who left it to my parents. My mom has money that allows me to take care of her. I know that is not a reality for most people. I know that. I grew up knowing if my car broke down, my parents would help me fix it. Right. I grew up knowing, my dad told me straight out, he said, if anything ever happens, you can always live with me. I know people walk down the street and they don't have that safety net. I know that. I know that me talking about prioritizing running or eating well or cooking my own meals, I know that comes from privilege. I get that. Right. So if I offended anyone, I apologize. I also think that capitalism is to blame for a lot of this. And maybe we need to figure out ways to break that chain. And I don't have the answers, Raquel. I don't have the answers. It's just, this episode was about what's going on in your head. That's what's going on in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think you're right, though. I think capitalism does play a very significant part in that, because why do people work? Because for the most part, because they need the money.
Well, we have to. Yeah.
And why do we need the money? To pay for all the things.
Yeah.
Right. There are people, so many people who don't have a safety net. We unfortunately live in a society that isn't structured to give people safety nets.
No, it's almost like they don't want us to have a safety net.
Like healthcare. Right, exactly. Like healthcare or free education or all the other things that I'm sure people listening are going to be like, oh, Raquel's a crazy socialist liberal, blah, blah. Well, yeah, Raquel is a crazy liberal. Fine, go ahead. But I think certain things should be provided by the society for the good of the society. Define that however you want, poke at it however you want, but that's how I feel. I think it's awful that there are people who don't have a safety net and
it's awful that there are people who are not even billionaires, that they're like multi-billionaires. And then there are other people who are physically, for real, starving to death. We have enough food on this planet to feed everyone. We have enough. But because of the division of wealth and the way we choose to define mine versus yours versus theirs, we let people starve. And then there's so much in between. It's like, there's so much in between, so many different levels of privilege and non-privilege. And it's what family you're born into, or what country, or what sex you're born into, or what color you're born into. And we all know that this is true. Hey, we're supposed to keep this upbeat. We just went down again. Boom. I have a habit of doing that.
No, but you know what? I think it's good. I think it goes to show that, there's a balance, right? There's heavy things and then there's light things. It's all part of the mix.
Yeah. And I think it's a reflection. Like we started out, what's on your mind? My mind has been heavy lately. I can't say I'm unhappy. It's not heavy, and I'm not depressed. I've had a lot of fucking shit on my mind.
Yeah.
And I would like to figure out how to vision a world that operates differently so that there were not children starving, and not even just children, people starving. I wish there were no starving people. I wish we could just start there.
It's a good place to start. It's a really good place to start. And thankfully, there are organizations that are doing things about that. Like I saw something the other day, maybe I saw it on Instagram, I don't remember, where there are refrigerators in neighborhoods, various neighborhoods, and there's food in them and they're free and you take what you need. And then other people come along and they put things into it for people who need it. Thankfully, there are people of a similar mindset to you who are thinking, how do we make a dent in this? How do we change this? And they are, and they're making those changes. Maybe it's on a small scale, but I think that's how things start. You do something here and then it ripples out. It's like, like throwing the pebble in a lake, right? Throw it in and things just ripple out from there. It has to start somewhere. And, maybe that's an future episode for the show, as we talk about ways that people are trying to make these changes. Listeners, if you know of programs or people or organizations or whatever that are doing things to bring about this change and this growth in the world that we would all, I think, like to see, let us know, because we would like to reach out to those people and give them a voice and help in any way that we can as well. So either respond by leaving a review or email us at madnesscafepodcast@gmail.com. Reach out to us on Instagram at madnesscafepodcast. Get this information to us. We want to share this information with you all, but we also want to get information from you. We want this to be a two-way conversations, because that would be super cool. And one of the reasons we started the podcast is, first off, so that we can have conversations. And another reason is because we want to help shine a light on other women and other people who are doing great work, and provide some access for them and help get the word out on what they're doing. Because the more you know, the more you can do.
Right on, Raquel. Anything else on your mind?
I think that's it. All the people who reach out to us and, leave a review or reach out to us on Instagram. Thank you to all of those people. We love hearing from you all. Please keep that going. We get inspiration from you all. Please continue to inspire us.
Bye, Raquel.
Bye, Jennifer.
See you soon.
Bye. Thanks everyone for listening today. We will be back with more Madness Cafe next week. You can find us on Instagram at madnesscafepodcast or email us at madnesscafepodcast@gmail.com. Bye.